Let's take you to Akwa Ibom State, where a new chapter is unfolding in the recruitment of civil servants on one that promises to place favoritism with fairness. Governor Gov Eno says the ongoing employment process for 4,000 new workers will be the most transparent in the state's history. TVC News' Miriam Daniels has the story. We'll see if we can bring you that report as soon as we're able to. But Miriam Daniels is in Uyo and she's joining me on news from the state. Miriam, I'm wondering what this initiative by Governor Gov Eno would, probably do. Is it marking the beginning of a new merit-driven era in public service employment, or are we still testing the strength of the system against old habits of favoritism?
Yes. It is indeed marking a new era in the recruitment process of the civil service. I mean, the entire civil service, generally, digitizing the civil service. I mean, owing to what the background knowledge we have about, the challenges facing the civil service, not just in the country, but in Akwa Ibom State, challenges of poor record keeping, challenges of corruption, political interference, a situation where you need to know somebody, a top person in government, to be able to have a government job, irrespective of how fantastic your qualification may be. And then to inefficiency as one of the challenges that the civil service has always been facing, a poor infrastructure and all of that. So for this initiative, in Akwa Ibom State by Governor Gov Eno, it's really a new beginning. It's a new beginning for the civil service in Akwa Ibom State. For once, people will be able to, serve their state, bring their best efforts, to make the state better through the civil service without necessarily having to know anyone. And this also is going to bring about a smooth event, smooth occurrences in the system, smooth processes in the system. Before now, you would hear stories about delayed promotions, delayed processes, delayed documentation, and a whole lot of bottlenecks that come with the civil service due to the instance of digitization, technology, internet, and all of that. So,
absolutely.
Miriam,
Miriam, looking at this, does it look like initiatives like this can help rebuild the social contract between citizens and the state, where competence truly counts more than connection?
Yes, certainly it will. Before now, you would hear people, maybe when they're out of school, they would just say they don't need to bother about government jobs because they don't have people who would put them in that position. But this system is making it in such a way that it takes away every form of political interference, any form of favoritism, So a graduate in Akwa Ibom State would be confident to apply for a civil service job in Akwa Ibom State. And that, in a way, is bringing confidence into the civil service. It's a way very encouraging, and it's kind of a nobody, so to say, will be able to come out of school with good grades and confidently take a job. And again, too, looking at all of these challenges that we have talked about, a lot of people before now would not have confidence in the civil service. They would just believe that when it comes to government business, things really don't work, processes really don't go well. But this is going to, in a way, encourage, that confidence between the citizens and government, and it's also going to strengthen governance in the state.
Absolutely. TVC News, Miriam Daniels, live for us in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital. Thank you. Well, that's about it from news from the state. Olamide, we see that our reporters really did a very good job, bringing us up to speed with developments in the state. But one thing that made a whole lot of sense to me, as well as other stories, is the issue of the narrative about Christian genocide, alleged by Senator Ted Cruz, which was refuted by the Trump advisor who met the president, outside of the country, saying that this is just a narrative that is completely wrong, because people who were killed in Nigeria are not, or were not, separated, from, based on religious, reasons or anything. Right. Bombs, guns, and every other ammunition are killing people regardless of their faith.
And you'll be very shocked about how far that narrative can really go. These days where people don't really fact check, what they hear, most persons will go with that kind of narrative. It's good that the government is tackling it immediately. But then, like I mentioned yesterday, it's sort of an holistic effort, it's a continuous process to ensure that, this kind of things do not get into the minds of people. There's also sometimes accusations, some use the religious card, some also use the ethnic card. Sometimes they do not know that these things are sort of a tool to divide, a sort of a tool of division at the end of the day. So it's good to also fact check when you make some claims, especially a public office holder, to also be confirming some of these things, because they have people who look up to them. But another story of interest will be this Akwa Ibom story, where the government is also inspecting the CBT facility. It's good that we're having tech, artificial intelligence in the civil service. Civil servants especially have been one of those people who many have said most times they tend to drag their feet. So the recruitment process is one that should be holistic. They should also ensure that this also reduce the number of ghost workers that we see in the civil service today. Perhaps when they continue to use this, it will also reflect in the outcome.
Most definitely. The issue of
their jobs in the state. That's a good one from the governor. That's a fine place to leave the conversation for today. That's it on TVC News at 1. For more updates on the stories of monitoring, you can visit our website on www.tvcnews.tv. You can also follow us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram,